Well, as house prices continue to slide across Australia, as we keep on talking about, there's been a plunge in seller happiness, probably for reasons that you can understand fairly simply. A new report, however, reveals that sellers with homes valued over $1.5 million were most likely to be unhappy with their sale result.
Now, though, let's name Australia's happiest and unhappiest regions. Rate My Agent CEO and co-founder Mark Armstrong is with us now from Melbourne. Mark, first of all, tell us a bit about the report, why you produced it, and what do you reckon it tells us that maybe other reports don't at the moment?
Yeah, so at Rate My Agent, we produce an enormous amount of really unique data. And to give you an idea, around about 40% of all sellers in Australia write a review on Rate My Agent about their experience with their agent. So that gives us a great opportunity to ask those sellers, to those consumers who really are at the coalface of the market, about their experience and their expectations. And we asked...
keep going. Beg your pardon.
Sorry. So we have the opportunity, because we get close to 200,000 reviews posted every year, we have a great opportunity to ask the consumer a really pinpointed question, and that is, was the sale price you achieved above, below, or in line with your expectations? So we saw in the marketplace that a lot of people use median value to get a sense of what's going on in the market. But Rate My Agent, we really wanted to create a consumer confidence index. And the best way to produce a consumer confidence index was to ask the people that have actually transacted in real estate.
I might have already outed myself as being extremely keen to jump straight into the results here. Mark, could you tell us what the happiest places are?
So the happiest places tend to be in regional areas. 7 of the happiest places are in Tasmania. There's a couple in Queensland and one in WA. And I think the reason for that is we see a trend. We've seen these cycles happen, over the last 10 or 15 or 20 years. When a property market goes through a really strong period of growth, people look for affordability in other areas. They leave places like Melbourne and Sydney and to a lesser extent Brisbane, and they search for affordability. And so they go to regional areas. They go for the tree change or the sea change because they've been priced out of those markets. And we've had significant growth prior to 2018, where the market really went through an adjustment. There was significant growth in the major cities around Australia. So that trend of people looking further afield, looking for more affordable suburbs, I think that it clearly shows in our stats that that's what's happening.
You were also, with this data that you got, you explained earlier, were able to find the unhappiest suburbs. What were they? Or regions?
Yeah, so they tended to dominate in Sydney and around New South Wales. And we believe the reason for that is when a market goes through a very strong period of growth, it's the top end of the market that has the highest dollar value increase. So a $500,000 property growing at 10% grows by $50,000, whereas a $2 million property growing at 10% grows by $200,000. So when the market adjusts, it might adjust by the same percentage rate, but in dollar terms, it actually adjusts by more. So people will be more unhappy because they've had to adjust their price by hundreds of thousands of dollars, as opposed to maybe not adjusting their price at all or only by tens of thousands of dollars. So it tends to be those higher valued suburbs that have gone through the greatest dollar adjustment throughout the last 12 months.
And when we talk about happiness, Mark, is it just that that vendors haven't adjusted their expectations quickly enough with regard to prices coming off the boil?
I think there's two parts to it. I think absolutely that's one key component, that as the market was rising through 2017, in the very early stages of 2018, the owners' expectations continued to rise even as the market started to decline and started to soften. So the vendors are a little bit behind where the market is, and there's a bit of a lag there that they have to educate themselves to the market and readjust their sites. But I think the other thing is that good real estate agents will help a vendor identify exactly where the market is and set their expectations at the right level before they even start. So there's no doubt that vendors are now going through an education process. The education process is not one they really want to go through, because they're educating themselves down off a price compared to where they were maybe 6 months ago.
It's so fascinating, and it adds a lot to the debate because we've had some other research today about house price expectations and the way asking prices have dropped. So, yeah, it certainly adds a lot of colour and some specific suburbs that people might have been very interested in there. Thank you so much. Great to have you, Mark. Mark Armstrong.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Rate My Agent, the CEO and co-founder.